We don't get mad at that person because we understand that sometimes things happen, right? Sometimes you plan to go to your girlfriends or your, guy friends and to hang out for the weekend, but then something happens, right? Maybe their parents get sick and you can't come over. COVID is happening. We can't go anywhere half the time, right? So we have to say sorry. It's not because we're being mean or rude, just sometimes life gets in the way. But this is the most important thing when we ask somebody to do something for us. So it's kind of like in the non-Indigenous world, being polite and respectful when we ask somebody to do something. Instead of saying, go get that. That's pretty rude, isn't it? But if we were to think about this tobacco, how would you offer that to somebody? We would say it in a whole different way, right? Because then we would be asking them with politeness, could you please go and do this for me? I would be really grateful. I'm far more likely to go and get you that coffee or that tea or that pop if you ask me politely than if you tell me what you want me to do, right? Go get that. I might just say to you, go get it yourself and walk away. Right? So we remember that tobacco when we're asking people, even when we don't have it around. All right, we're all here? We're good to go. All right, we don't have a long time. So I apologize for that. Next time I come, I will hopefully try and arrange it in a different way. I apologize for the Timmy's tea, but that's how my life goes these days. A little bit of Timmy's goes a long way. Okay, so Ani Bonjour. I'm going to start by that. In my language, I am Ojibwe is the English word. Anishinaabe is the word I use in my language. And Ani means hi. And the other word that we use is Wena Bonjour, or the short form of that is Bonjour. Who thinks it's the same in French? Yeah. It's not. The word bonjour is not bonjour. So when you hear me say bonjour, I'm really speaking in my own language, and it's a short form for wena bonjour, and it means thank you. But it means thank you from a spiritual place. So thanking you, knowing that we are all beings that God, Creator, Vishwamana, made. And so we honor your spirit by saying bonjour. I'm going to give you some quick lessons, okay? And I'm going to say if there's somebody that's bugging you because they're sitting close to you and you don't like them, get over it. That's our lives. Many times in our lives, we have to learn to accept that there are people that are going to bother us every day. And what we do and what we're going to do here today is when they bother us, we're just going to say, it's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay? It's just a short period of time. We're just going to let it be good. All right. So, I want everybody to take a look. What do you think this is? Eagle feathers, eagle wing. We call them eagle fans when they're like this. And they're fan because literally you can fan yourself with them. And in a hot day, I've used this quite a few times because they create quite a wind. This is the tip, just the tip of a fan. Most eagle wings have a span of 6 feet when they're mature adults. So this is just a little bit of it, right? The eagle is really important to us as a people. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. But the first thing I'm going to do is introduce myself. And when I introduce, I always carry this with me because this is the one thing I know will always keep me in a good place. So Ani Bonjour, kata with Wamikwe is the cause, Michigan do them, Manomaniki Mudujaba, and Anishinaabe. My name in English is Elisa Johnson. My Anishinaabe name is Kata with Wamikwe, which means old medicine lodge woman. I come from a place called Manomaniki. In English, they use the term Hiawatha First Nation. It's kind of on the outside of Peterborough on the North Shore of Rice Lake. My mother was Irish. My father was Anishinaabe, which is why I'm sitting here with light skin and light eyes. My teachings come from my people. So I have never not identified as First Nations, but I'm equally as happy. I've been to Ireland twice. I'm very proud of my Irish heritage as much as I am of my Anishinaabe heritage. So I like to be able to come and show you that in today's world, a lot of our people are mixed blood, is what we call it. And it's a really good thing to be because I live in both worlds. I have the ability to walk in both worlds, and that makes me pretty happy. But also, you know, it's the same for a lot of people in this world when we come and we learn new cultures and we learn to be around new people, and we end up marrying and having children with other nations of people, and it's like, oh, look at that, we're all mixed blood. But one of the things will happen is you identify stronger with one of those bloods. And I have always identified stronger with being from my community, being an Anishinaabe. So, oh, that's my phone. I'm like, whose cell phone's going on? It's mine. This eagle fan, when I'm going to tell you the story and the teaching about the eagle. So that Megazay, that great eagle, the one that flies the highest, is the one that we pray to. And we pray to them primarily at the first thing in the morning, the highest part at noon, and before we go to bed at night. Those are the times where that Megazay is listening for us. Now, we're not praying to that Megazay at all, we're praying to God. But that Megazay is one who will carry those messages up to Creator for us. The reason we pray and we talk to Megazay and ask him to carry our prayers or expect that he will do that is because there was a time in our lives when Creator was done with us. We were fighting, we were angry, we were at war with each other, and we had always lived in harmony prior to that. We lived together. It didn't matter what nation we came from. We all lived on the same seaboard, we all spoke the same language, we all communicated together, and we got along. But it's like anything, after a while, and those of you, I have 5 brothers, so I can tell you that after a while, 5 brothers can get really annoying, because I'm the youngest. So they picked on me, they poked, and they pushed, and they teased, right? And so, you know, that gets really tiring after a while, and you get angry. Sometimes you argue, and you fight back, and all of those things happen. So Creator had enough of that. Kind of like when my mom used to yell, enough! And so what he did was he decided he was going to destroy us. He was done with us. And that eagle who always flew to Creator's side every day heard him say that, and he begged, please, Creator, let me go and see. Let me see. I will fly in the 4 directions to see if there's any of our people still doing what they were asked to do from the beginning of time. And so we did that. He flew. He flew out to the north, south, east, and west. And while he flew, he was over the lands looking for grandmas and grandpas and young ones who were still practicing our culture and traditions, who were going to the sacred fires every day, who were lighting that, who were offering their tobacco as prayer, who were doing all those good things. And he flew looking specifically for them, and he found them. And so he flew back to Creator, but it was the middle of the day, when the sun is the hottest. And as he flew and he got closer and closer and closer to the sun, he got hotter and hotter, and his wings started to smoke. His head started to smoke. His tail started to smoke. And pretty soon they caught fire. And just as he caught in flames, Creator came out of his lodge and saw him and called him to him. And he held out his arm for him, and Creator said to him, why are you doing this? And as he was talking to him, he just moved his hand over his head and tail feathers, and he gave him water to get the feathers to stop smoldering. And he said to him, why? Why would you do this? Why would you put yourself at such peril that you would offer your own life? And he said, I do this for my brothers, the Anishinaabe. They are not all bad. They are not forgetting. They haven't all walked away. In fact, there are so many of our grandmas and grandpas who are down there teaching their young ones about you that we want to continue. I want you to save them, God. Take care of them. Let them continue to be, because there are good people amongst them. And so Creator said to him, as he gave him that water, I need time to think. I need to think about the words that you've come and shared with me. And so he went back in his lodge, and the eagle stayed outside. And he hoped and he prayed that that would be what would happen, that God would keep the Anishinaabe people. And after quite a time, Creator came out of his lodge, and Gujamanado, Creator said to that Megazay, your words were very impactful. They really helped me. And because of your words, I have made that decision that I will keep Anishinaabe alive. But only because of you and the things that you have said and done. And so I'm going to keep them. You, my brother, will continue to have white head from the burning, the ash. You will continue to have white tail feathers. And amongst you, there will be feathers that will continue to have the marks of that smoldering. Because your suffering for them is what is important. And so they will go to honor, to understand that you are the reason they continue to live. And as a result, your feathers will forever hold those marks. And all of your descendants will be marked the same way, so that you remember your responsibility to the people. But more importantly, the people remember their responsibility to you and how they can reach back to me through their prayers. And so as you see on these feathers, all throughout here, there's markings. Those feathers have those markings of that original fire that was given to Megazay. And it's a reminder to us that we are here literally by the grace of God. That we continue to exist because God decided to listen to what Megazay had seen about who we were. And so we carry that. And when we introduce ourselves, and when we come to do things, we often bring those feathers with us because it's important. To me, this is like, in my home, it's treated very much like a child. We feed it, we water it, we take care of it. It never lays on the ground. It never gets dropped. It's the most important thing. So I carry it. And there have been times in my life where I have been very ill. And this is what laid upon me while I laid in the hospital, was this fan. Because I knew that if I had this fan on me, that nothing could come to harm me. Nothing would hurt me. And so I survived my illnesses as a result, I believe, of this and the prayers of the people in my lodge and my family and the friends that I have. When they prayed to me and I had this with me, I knew God was listening. I knew that he heard their prayers, and that if it was his will, he would make me healthy again. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. So this is like my child. I treat it with great respect and great love. And it's important that you understand why these mean something to us. So for those of you who are Catholic, right? When you've been to my sister-in-law's house, there's a cross, a crucifix on the wall in her living room, in her kitchen, in her dining room. And it's her statement to all that come into her home that she's a believer, right? That she believes in God, the power of God. And so for us as Anishinaabe, this is exactly the same kind of thing. It says that we are believers and that we believe in our God. So I don't wear a crucifix, I don't wear a cross, but I do wear a feather. My husband gave me this, it's important to me. And I keep it on my necklace. I wear it every day, and it's here next to my heart because I know that Creator, through Megazay, will continue to keep my heart in a good place. All right, so 4 sacred medicines. That's what we start with, and that's what we use on a daily basis. They are sweetgrass. This is a men's medicine, a boy's medicine, and it represents Mother Earth's hair. It's braided because we braid our hair for a lot of reasons, not just because when we're out in the wind, and those of you girls and boys who have long hair, right? Go out in the wind with your hair like this, it's not long before it's a tangled mess and it's hard to put a brush on, right? But when you braid it, it stays neat and tidy and it doesn't get wind blown and it's great. This is sweetgrass, Mother Earth's hair. And we don't braid it because we're worried about it getting messy. We braid it because it is our past, our present, and our future that we blend together. And on everything, like a coin, there are two sides. The other side of that is our mind, our body, and our spirit. And when we blend those things together, it's really important. So if you take one hair, I can pull it out of my head. I have really fine hair, you can't see it, but I'm going to tell you, it snaps, okay? That's what happens with just one single strand of hair. But if I take my hair and I do like that sweetgrass, and I braid it, and the whole time when you're braiding sweetgrass, you're supposed to be praying to God. And when you do that, you're blending your mind, your body, and your spirit. But you're also putting together your past, your present, and your future. You guys all have a huge future ahead of you. When you do that, I can't pull it apart. Okay? That's how strong you are when you blend those things together. Mind, body, and spirit, past, present, and future. They are everything to us as a people. They are the teachings that we have about who we are as young women, who we are as young men, that you cannot know where you're going to go if you don't know who you are right here today, but also who your family are and where they come from. You look around the room, there are different colors of skin here. There are different colors of eyes and hair. People who come from originally families that came from all different colors of people in all different countries. If you are not First Nation Métis or Inuit, you don't come from here. Your families don't originally come from here. So it's important for you to know that, to know where they come from. Because it's your coming here that makes us such an amazingly rich country. And the people you bring with your stories, your food, your teachings, your culture, your ceremonies and celebrations, they make us so rich as a country of people. And it's the same with us as Indigenous people in this country on Turtle Island. We're not all the same. We all have different cultures, languages, teachings, so we blend those all together. And that makes us strong. So strong that other people can't influence us to do things that are not right. And in the world that we live in today, there's a lot of information comes, right? Social media, right? How many of you have a cell phone? Okay. I'm going to tell you that the first cell phone I had was when I worked, and it was this big, and literally you held onto it with two hands because it was huge. And that was literally, the phone was almost this big. Like you just held onto it like this. It was humongous, right? And the reason you had it was if there was a medical emergency or when I was traveling on the road for work, if my car broke down, or if somebody put me in danger. That was it. When I was your age, we didn't have cell phones of any kind. Now you have them. But on cell phones, you don't just get to call or text mom and dad, everybody. But then there's Instagram, right? And there's Facebook, and there's all those things that you can get on. And sometimes they tell you things that are not right, that they're not good. And they show you things that it's like, that's not the way life should be. And people your age should never see those kind of things. And then they show us some really good things. Because if we didn't see some of the images coming from the Ukraine, we wouldn't know how devastating that war is. And how you can obliterate whole communities and cities of people for no reason, right? So we have good and bad with all of that technology. For us as Anishinaabe people, our technology is still growing and we're still learning because we like to tell things from our own mouths, to hear with our own ears. And so I want to share some of that. Where am I at for time? 15 minutes? Ooh, we're good. All right. So I want to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you the same story that I told others. The reason I'm going to tell you this story is kind of twofold. One is because I always like it. It makes me feel good. The second reason is because in the world that we live in, with social media in particular, where everything gets filmed and people say, oh, I hate her and I hate him and he's this, and we hear that and we believe it. Sometimes we have to protect ourselves from that, right? We have to protect ourselves from the way things are. And so we get fidgety and we can't sit still, right? And it's part of the problem because we're like waiting. We want to be doing things all the time. So I'm going to tell you about Porcupine. Porcupine, when he first came to this land, when he was first placed here by Creator, he had no thorns. He had no quills. He was smooth, fuzzy, and he had long, long hair that stood up, very much like horsehair in the back. So he was smooth with that. And he was short little face, big round body, and he walked really slow from side to side. How many of you have seen a porcupine in real life? They're kind of a funky looking animal. Weird, right? Yeah, and slow. And so that porcupine, when he was first made, God put him here without any white bells. And so he was a lot of fun for the bear. The bear used to come and hunt for him. I have a bear paw here. My husband's clan, we have a clan system, is bear. So I always keep this with me because it's like he's with me when I go and do things. And so that bear loved to eat porcupine. And they were easy to catch because they're slow as molasses, right? So one day he was being hunted by the bear and he saw a tree and he got underneath and it was a hawthorn tree. And that hawthorn tree has what on it? Anybody know? Thorns, right? That's why it's called hawthorn. So that bush became his little protector. And as he left, the bear left and he went away, and Porcupine went, oh, cool, what a great idea. So using his teeth, he took off a whole bunch of branches and he stuck them in the hair, and the long, long hair that he has in his back held them in place. And he came out and he had this whole thing of a tree on the back of him. And Wayne Beaujol had been watching to see how he was doing. And he came out and he said to him, what do you got there? He said, oh, it's a new idea. I think I'm going to wear this. I'm not sure how it's going to work for the rest of the day, but at least the bear is not going to be able to eat me. His bear tried. He couldn't get through the hawthorns. In fact, when he came back and he was there, he came up to Porcupine, went to pounce him, and those thorns stuck right in his paw. He laughed. Sore paw. Nothing's worse than the bear with a sore paw, right? So he laughed. Porcupine was so happy because he didn't get eaten for the day. It's like, this is a great idea. So Wayne Beaujol said to him, I think I have an idea to help you. Come with me. So they got a whole bunch more hawthorns, and they took those, and they went to the river. And Wayne Beaujol took Porcupine, and all over his back, he put that really heavy, thick clay in. And then he broke off the hawthorn bush, thorns one by one, stuck them in that clay. There he was, all those thorns sticking up. He was protected now. But the problem was, he said, how am I going to go home? My children won't be able to get close to me. None of the people I love will get close to me because there are all these thorns sticking out. So Wayne Beaujol had an idea. And he said, I'm going to pray really, really hard for you. And he said, I'm going to turn that clay through our magic of Creator will become a part of your skin. And all of those thorns will become a part of your skin. And you're going to be able to control them. And so when you're with your family and you're feeling safe, they will lay flat. And as soon as you're in danger, you can make them stand up. He's like, oh, that's brilliant. He was so impressed with Buena. And so he prayed, and through the magic of Creator, he actually had that happen. And so now, Porcupine had the quills, and he could have them stand up on demand. You get mad, stand up the quills. And so that's what he did. And he put those quills on him, and from there on out, Buena said, all of your descendants are going to have those. And they're going to be able to control them, and it's going to protect you from the bear. And so now, today in this world, Porcupine does not have a natural predator. There is no one that actually bothers the porcupine, because to get close to him means you're going to be stuck with those quills. The other thing that's really important about those quills is on the end of them, the tip of them, they have a barb. Do you know what a barb is? Yeah? So a barb is something that has a little bit of a hook on it. And it's hard to see, but when it gets in your skin, you can't just pull it straight out like a regular needle. It sticks in and gets under your skin, makes it really hard to get them out, and they hurt. So if you ever have a dog that you have got quills in it, they don't pull them out backwards. They actually push them all the way through. Yeah. No, it doesn't, because then they come straight through instead of getting caught in their skin and ripping their skin. So that's how they get them out, those porcupine quills, when your dog decides that he wants to go and try and eat it, right? Porcupine is really an important little creature in our world today, because it talks to us about things like social media. When people are out there and they're being mean, and they're coming after you and they're saying mean things, that's when you get your quills on. You just put them up. And those quills in our world, they're made of things like, that's when you have your best friends stick close to you. That's when you have your family stick close to you and take care of you. And that's when you use something that's really important, and that's called truth. Just speaking the truth is really important. That porcupine is some of the things that we use. And teaching of stories, we normally do those just in the winter. But that's an old time, right? Because in the winter, we didn't spend a lot of time outdoors, right? We didn't have the same kind of things we have today in this world. But that was our time to do storytelling. Because stories are the way that we teach. It's no different than you coming to school every day. You come to school to learn. And in our way, our stories were the way in which our teachers helped us learn about who we were and what was expected of us, our roles, our relationships, and our responsibilities in this world as young men and young women. So this is a time, especially at your age, when you'd be learning all of those things, getting ready for that. So we have about 5 minutes. I'm going to ask, does anybody have any questions? And I'll try my best to answer, but just be aware I'll point you out. So yes.
Where's the rest of the eagle's body, since you only have part of the wing?
Good question. The rest of the eagle's body was used in ceremonies, so other people have different parts of it. This was given to me by one of the men at my medicine lodge, where we go to Sundance. So the head, everything is used. Even the bones are used. Yeah.
Do you use that eagle feather for smudging?
Yes. So smudging is one of the things that we do on a regular basis, every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And it's a way of cleansing our body, our mind, and our spirit, so that we let some of the negativity in this world go. Or when we're having a hard time concentrating, or when we're really upset about something, we will smudge. That smudge, the smoke comes over us, and a lot of times we'll use that fan. Sometimes we use it to actually touch us, because it helps us. Like when I was sick, right? That fan laid on me. Just that alone makes a big difference. Yeah. Yep. Speak loud.
Can you please tell me where those first came from?
Where these first came from? Creator made the eagle. He made all of this, everything we see. So we believe that this land that we live on Earth, here we live on a place that's called Turtle Island, North America, South America, right? And he made everything, right? So the air, the sun, the moon, all the flying animals, all the four-legged, all the plants, trees, medicines, everything that lives above and below the earth is what Creator made. And those eagles are part of that. Sorry?
Thank you for telling me.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
How did you get the eagle feathers?
This one was given to me by a friend in Montana. Yeah.
Can you explain the reasoning for the turtle shell?
Sure can. This is a snapping turtle, and it was eaten in the winter by a weasel. My husband brought it to me, and this is my clan. So we have a clan system. Our people are divided up by clans. Each clan has a responsibility. My clan is Michigan turtle. Does it sound familiar, Michigan?
Yeah.
Michigan, yeah. So originally Turtle Lake, Michigan, and so that's where that word Michigan comes from. And the turtle is really important to us because it talks to us about the moon and the water and the relationship between moon and water. There are 13 shell pieces on the back of every turtle. There are 13 moons in a calendar year, not one, they're not by the month, but there are 13 in a calendar year. There are 28 sections on the outside of it. Those 28 sections, they give us the relationship between the flow of water. And as you young men will soon learn with women, the flow of our lifeblood. And so the ability to have children is also governed by that. And so they're represented on the back of this. I have the bear paw because my husband is Makwa, Bear Clan, and his responsibility is as a protector. That's their job. Yeah. Sorry? What are the bones used for? Yeah, so we use the bones for whistles primarily. So we have like eagle whistles. So we hollow out the center of the bone, take the marrow out, and put a little piece in it, a little nick in it, and just like anything, it'll make a whistling sound. And we use those for ceremony. Yeah.
Is there, like, for example, South America or like?
South America is the tail of the turtle.
What about like other countries?
Other places in the world are other places in the world. We don't have that name for them. But Turtle Island is our territory. It's where we were placed at the beginning of time. Yeah. I do use my drum. This drum is really important. The hand drum are the only drum that women use as well as men. And this, I'll sound it for you. This drum was given to me from a man. I work in a prison. So this was given to me by one of the men that worked or that went to prison. And when he got out of prison, continued to follow our traditions and walk this way. And before he died, he gave me this drum. And so I've always used this drum. I bring it with me because it's important for people to know that even when life hands you some really bad things, and sometimes you make choices that lead you in the wrong direction, there's always a way to come back. And one of the ways is through this drum. Glasses on at the very back. Yep.
That stuff that gets stuck in your skin, what happens if you don't take it out?
I'm sorry. What happens if you don't get the barbs out?
Yeah.
They'll fester and then they'll push themselves out.
Oh.
Just like anything that you have in your skin that gets infected, it'll get infected. It'll soon come to the surface and pop through, and it's really ugly. The fussy. Yes. Nope, the other woman in front of you. You, with the bow. What did he? The drum is made out of deer hide, and this is, I think, poplar wood, but this is deer hide. Yeah. Most common is deer hide for us, or moose hide. Sometimes we'll use buffalo hide. This is buffalo skin, buffalo hide, rawhide. So the inside, all the hair's scraped off, and all the tissue that comes with skin, with the hide, is scraped off, and then it's dried. And when it's dried, you can use it for art. But this is what we used for things like our original suitcases were made out of this. Pouches, all that kind of stuff, they got made out of rawhide. So even this is rawhide. You just have to let it get wet and bend it, and it works. And then when it's dry, it's hard. Yeah. So Creator did that, right? He got the clay form. The story that you're thinking about, I don't have time to tell, but our creation story is when the animals all tried to die for earth, for clay, when he flooded the lands. And so it ended up being the muskrat, or what we call a zhush, who actually dove deep enough. But when he came up in his claw, there was the clay, but he couldn't breathe, he was dead. And it was through Creator blowing wind into his mouth again through this shell that he ended up living, and we now still have that, and it was on the back of the turtle that he put that clay, blew on that, and it grew and grew and grew to become Turtle Island. That's why it's called Turtle Island. It's on the back of the turtle. And I think we're at our time limit. Yes, we're at our time limit? Okay, so I would love to answer more of your questions, but you all have to go back to school. So before you go, I want to say Chimigwech. It means a big thank you for coming, for spending time, and for using your ears so well. I greatly appreciate it. So I say Chimigwech, and I hope that I can come back again. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a good day. When you go home today, be thankful for what is in your house and your family, even the ones that bug the crap out of you. And you know what? In the long run, there's going to be another day when you're going to be grateful for them. So, miigwech.
Hi guys, can you just line up on that wall? We're gonna go last for the stuff. Right?
Yes, they can come on.
We're gonna come back. You guys will volunteer.
It'll be 30th.